I ended up, joining a gang as a teenager. It was, my dad was a gang member. My sister was involved in drugs. My grandma had been to prison. Like there were just a lot of like substance abuse issues and just issues in general in my family that just were prevalent. And I'd never seen anybody like go to college. I had never seen anybody do anything in that sort of direction. And my mom was busy working a lot. She was constantly at work. And so that left me sort of like open to pursue things that I probably shouldn't have pursued at that time. And then, as a teenager, I ended up getting involved in a gang, um, ended up in juvenile hall, getting arrested. And I think that is probably when, you know, the sort of turning point, I guess, happened. Is when I was in juvenile hall. I met organizations and, people who were willing to invest time and energy in me. They got me to take my GED. They provided me with all these different sort of like educational programs that were, creative writing and things along those lines that were just things that like I hadn't, I guess, really had like the time and space to like fully devote energy to. But when I was in that sort of space, it was, it was a little bit easier. And also just having people, a lot of these people that worked in those programs were people who had lived experience, who had been through like any, not just juvenile hall, they had been in prison.
What do you credit with turning your life around?
I think it's a combination of things. I don't think there is like one thing that I can point to. I think it is sort of like a perfect storm. I think the fact that I had, crossed paths with these organizations and these nonprofits and these people who were willing to be mentors, but also the fact that, my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, was so willing to support me. She was writing me letters every day when I was in juvenile hall and just showing me like support and willing to sort of be there at my side no matter what decision I made in terms of going forward.
How were you able to blindside your best friend? Like
like emotionally, how logically, how
strategically? Say, when I saw that, I was like, whoa, I don't think I'd seen such a blindside on an ally my whole time. I think we've watched 30 seasons now.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was tough. Like, I will say that, like, one thing that gets lost, like, it's easy to be like, wow, these strategic moves are so cool. These blindsides are so cool. Having all these idols flying out is so cool. Like, it's easy to just, like, think about it that way. But for me, like, I had been with Cody since day one. We started the very first, like, reward challenge, first few minutes on the beach right next to each other, like, running the race with each other. And we had made all these decisions together. And he put so much trust in me. He put so much like, showed me a lot of his heart, right? Like told me a lot of his story, his life. And it's really rough. Like it's really rough to have to do that. But again, like I kept reminding myself that like as cool as these relationships are that I'm building right now, like I have these relationships back home and these promises that I made to people back home that are going to sort of trump whatever I have out here. But I will say, like, if you want to know the lowest point in my game, like my lowest point, it was like sitting down next to Cody after doing what I did and just like looking over at him and seeing like in his face. That was really rough. And so like, I don't think that comes through the TV, just how hard some of these moves are for sure.
Where is your friendship now? Where are you guys at now?
We haven't spoken since the island. He does not talk. No, I'm just kidding. The first time I saw Cody afterwards, like after the game, we shook hands, we hugged, I checked on him. I was like, are we good? Or like, are we okay? And he said, yeah, like he said that as soon as I pulled out Janine's idol, it made sense to him why I did what I did. Because I could make that move at 6 and then I'd be safe at 5. And so he, from a game perspective, he's like, it made sense. Like, I get why you did it. Emotionally, like, I think he still, like he has said in interviews, like he shook my hand, but then he went back and he was very upset. So I think it was just a process, but like, we're so good now. He's visited me over the summer. Like we've hung out, we talk all the time. It's not like, any bad blood or anything between us. We're good.
Do you see yourself going down as a survivor villain? And, how would you like to be how would you like to go down?
I don't, yeah, no, there's a huge debate on whether I'm a villain or not, I guess.
Do you
I
see
don't
yourself as a villain?
I don't see myself as a villain. I think that like I made cutthroat moves, and I think that I made the moves that were in my best interest. And if it comes off as villainous to people, then I think that's up to the people to decide. But from my perspective, we're all the heroes in our own story, right? Like I was just doing what I had to do to get to the end, or try and get to the end. So I don't see myself as a villain. Maybe I'm a good bad guy, a bad good guy. I don't know. One of those.